Okay. Oh, I'm definitely gonna have to watch these videos later. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Yeah, that's one thing I should actually take a look at first. Since it came out in the morning, I wasn't able to wake up in the morning to see this, but... Alright, better late than never. Oh, it's a cinematic trailer, so there's no gameplay elements, obviously, but there's gonna be some elements, we'll see. Thank you, Shane, for the follow. I totally appreciate it. Wait, are you a streamer? That looks like a streamer name. Oh, Pogs, you are a streamer. You're welcome to the shout out then. You are welcome. That's a pretty cool looking avatar. Did somebody design it for you? We're just starting off with some just chatting for now. Apparently, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, the trailer just dropped this morning.
Cowabunga.
I couldn't wake up, so I decided to react to the trailer right now. So, how have you been doing? How has your self-quarantine been going? How'd you find my channel, by the way?
They are heartless. Godless barbarians.
Ah, Discord server. Gotcha.
They murder and kill blindly. They scar the lands of England. Lands they will never defend, never love. The time has come to speak to them in a language they will understand.
Which one of them is the assassin? He's the one.
Odin is with us!
Assassin's
look
Creed
so
Valhalla,
good, Arnold.
available holiday 2020.
Yo, Goofle, thank you so much for the bit. I totally appreciate it. Yeah, Shane, I'm thinking that like since they focused a lot on the combat and stuff in questing and exploration factor with, Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Assassin's Creed Origins, like this game would be no exception. The one thing I do play Assassin's Creed for is pretty much the stealth mechanics of the game overall. And actually they broke down the trailer in the Alright, so this is a developer commentary trailer. It's something we could look at. And thank you, Goofa. How are you doing?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the trailer breakdown for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, if you haven't already watched the CGI trailer that just dropped today, go over, make sure you do that, and then come right back here, because I am joined with Ashraf Ismail, creative director on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Darby McDevitt, narrative director on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So we're going to go through this trailer here and sort of break down some parts, pause and play, and hopefully y'all can shed a little bit more light on some things for us. So why don't we go ahead and start it?
They are heartless.
So right off the bat, I do want to stop this here. And Ashraf, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this settlement we're seeing, because I know settlements play a big role in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes, here what we're seeing is it's a settlement in Norway, a Norwegian settlement. The idea of home and settling, it's very important to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. A big part of the motivation of the story and the journey of Eivor, our hero, is about this idea of home and having this thriving settlement. What we're seeing here, again, is in Norway. This is home in Norway.
Yeah, so let's keep going here, because I don't think they're staying in Norway for long. So, Darby, we see this giant statue here. Who is this exactly?
This is a statue of Odin, one of the many gods in the Norse pantheon. It was pretty common before big events, before battle, before feasts, for the Norse to give offerings to the gods, sacrifices, in exchange for favors. This was not a religion that had where there was like an interventionist aspect where the gods were always watching over you, protecting you. They were a little bit more like humans. You had to do something for them and they would do something for you. So this is what we're seeing here, is kind of a pre something's about to happen and they're sort of going and asking for favors.
Godless barbarians.
So we see there the first sort of shot of our hero, Eivor. What's happening here? Why are they getting their face covered?
So here, as Darby mentioned, we have a ritual because we're about to go out. We're about to go to raid, to attack. And so here we're getting sort of the favor of Odin. There's been a sacrifice made to Odin to gain this war god's favor.
And is there anything you can sort of tell us about Eivor?
Yeah, Eivor. Our hero, this is a Viking raider who is from Norway and who will be leaving Norway for the rolling green hills of England. Here we're sort of teasing the idea that the journey really starts in Norway, and it will eventually lead to England, where again it's about this idea of settling the people and building this thriving settlement. Again, very important to the motivation of this character. Now players will be able to play Eivor as male or female, but it is the journey of Eivor.
So we see them here setting sail for England, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they haven't paused at this part, but if they put naval combat in, like some kind of naval combat in, well, not like exactly finesse to the point of it's like Assassin's Creed Black Flag again, But that kind of would be an interesting, like, part of the gameplay. Actually, Shane, have you played Assassin's Creed or any of the Assassin's Creed games? And by the way, since you're a follower now, you have access to the sound effects commands you can use on the channel. So yeah, if you have played Assassin's Creed, tell me about your experience with Assassin's Creed, or knowledge of it, or any knowledge or experience of Ubisoft games you've played.
And kill blindly.
So I want to stop right there for a second too, because we hear the voiceover saying they murder and kill blindly, but then you see them clearly stopping when they see this woman and child in front of them. Was that something you wanted to there's that maybe myth of the Vikings? Is that something you wanted to explore here, Darby?
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly, a lot of what we know about the Vikings comes from the people who they raided. The Viking Age started at the end of the 8th century with an attack on Lindisfarne.
What's up, Race Acer?
And the English like to write about it, and certainly a lot of the accounts are very brutal. What we're trying to do is actually show the complete sort of story of an entire culture. And when you actually jump forward to when our game is set, there's a lot of settling going on. There's not just raiding, but there's Norse coming over from Norway, from Denmark, and settling in England.
Also keep in mind, Acer, this is just a cinematic trailer. The cinematic trailer is not always going to guarantee the appearance of a game, but like at least it drives a narrative as to gives us a bit of background as to what the game is about.
And our game depicts a lot of that aspect of settling and integrating with the population. So, and that integration actually happened fairly quickly and easily. So we know that there was a lot of mutual, a lot of similarities between the two cultures that allowed this to happen. So what we're going to portray in this game is that it's not just about brutality and violence and wanton masochism. There's a lot of thought that goes into these raids, these battles, and then where these Norse settle, and the friends they make, and the alliances they make. So we try to show a complete picture.
Yeah, and you referenced the time period there. What time period are we talking?
So this game takes place. The main story begins in 873 AD, at a time when England is actually not one kingdom. It's not called England at the time, except as a land, but it's not a country. There's actually quite a few kingdoms inside England. So England itself is fairly fractured at this time, with many different kings that rule over different parts of it.
Yeah, I think we might see one of those kings in just a second.
They scar the lands of England, lands they will never defend.
What we're showing here is that they've left Norway and they've decided to now not just raid and attack England, but to actually build a community there. And as Darby mentioned, integrate themselves into the local society and become a part of it. One thing that history, doesn't really say until you dig, which is a lot of these people were farmers, they were traders, settlers, and they actually worked quite hard to integrate themselves into, let's say, England in this example. So here we're showing off this aspect of them, but from a game perspective, this is also something that's very important to the motivation of the game. Building your settlement, growing it, making the choices as a leader within this community about how you want to grow your settlement. This is very important. And here we're kind of giving a little taste of that.
Yeah, one thing that I think the English, or let's say the Saxons, you'd call them at the time when they were living there, they had because of the church, they had a lot of writing, so they were able to leave behind a lot of records. So archaeologically, we have to actually go and look at other sources to see how well they actually integrated. And if you look at a map of England now and you see any town with the ending of Thorpe or by, B, That
Bartleby?
probably means it was a Viking town or a Norse or Dane town settled. So we know just by the sheer number of them, hundreds of these towns, we know that they were actually very successful settlers.
Never loved. The time has come to speak.
All right, so I think this is one of those kings that Darby you were mentioning. Who exactly is this?
Yeah, who is that king?
And it's sort of revealed here that this is also the person that's giving voiceover as well. Why does he seem to have such disdain towards the Vikings?
Yeah, so this is Alfred, King Alfred, or Alfred the Great. He's the only English title or English king to actually have that title. He didn't give it to himself, but he is the King of Wessex, which is the southernmost kingdom in England at the time. There's also three others: Mercia, Northumbria, and East Anglia that we deal with. And he specifically is known for being one of the most staunch opponents of the Viking invasion. He was the strongest of the kings. He was able to push them back and for a time and deal with them, whereas other kings would rapidly crumble beneath the onslaught of the Danes and the Norse.
To them in a language they will understand.
So, Ash, here we see Eivor's people coming in on these Viking longships. How do those factor into the gameplay, and what did you learn about them?
Yeah, so the Viking longships, this is a technology that was unique to the Norse and the Danes and the Vikings in this time period. If I was to give a metaphor, I would say imagine that you have this empty highway, rivers, and you have a Ferrari that you can drive down this highway with no one around you and no one able to chase you. This is what gave the Vikings the capacity to get in so deep into the land
that
behind
works.
enemy lines.
What's up, Stash?
To hit and run. And these ships carried usually cargo.
We're just
and
working. We're just looking at a
raiders.
commentary for the
Raiders, these are
Assassin's Creed
warriors
Valhalla
that
trailer.
were proficient in
So you just
combat.
only missed
They
the
were
main
able to get
trailer.
in, steal a lot of stuff, and run away.
Yeah, we're gonna see the.
Yeah, this is the
events
new
that play
Assassin's
out
Creed.
here in a little bit.
Vikings. Thank you, Nightbot, for telling people about the better Twitch TV emotes.
So we're seeing here like a full-on battle taking place in this field. How do raids sort of fit into gameplay, and what did you what did you learn about how Vikings raid once they've gotten out of their longships?
Well, there's really two parts. There's raiding, which is much more about kind of hit and run, get into a specific place, steal the riches, create a bit of chaos to make people flee, run away, to give them time to steal. That's a raid. Here, what we're seeing is it's a big battle. So this time period was known to have a lot of battles between the Vikings and the Saxons, or the people who live in England. There were many battles.
Oh, you're just one
Here
E
we're witnessing
overlapping.
that, and that is something that we do have in the game. So players can go raiding with their longship and the raiders, and there are moments in the game with these really big, epic scale battles on battlefields or in fortifications, because it was a really big part of the history during this time. So we needed to represent that. Of course, Vikings carrying their famous round shield. We have Eivor, who at some point is holding a shield and an axe, but also two axes.
You're not gonna lie, I kind of would be like intrigued to do the combat of this game, as well as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because like Spartans and Vikings were very well-born fighters. That's definitely for sure. But if I were to get back to the stealth mechanics, I would play the classic like 8 Assassin's Creed titles. I feel like they've been detracting more and more from the actual stealth mechanic, to the point that it's like it just only gets relegated to side missions for stealth instead for the latest Assassin's Creed titles, because like Well, it's nice to step into pieces of history and all. I just see a little bit less of like what made the Ezio trilogy stand out the most, with Jesper Kidd as the conductor. He's just the musico conductor at the point. But as time went on, I've been seeing a little bit less and less of like what made Assassin's Creed like originally Assassin's Creed. I'm still on the Breath of the Wild vibe right now, so I'm thinking up some powerful recipe like the experiment because you played that earlier. Now doing game. I'm always doing gamer things, Stash. I am always doing gamer things. I also managed to get like an exclusive in-game item. So they were like doing a development art stream, and there were some trivia questions you could answer. Once you answer the trivia, I think there's just another chance you could get this bonus item. So when the game comes out, I'm gonna get actually like an exclusive item from the trivia questions I answer on their art stream.
If people notice, we're seeing a lot of the things we're doing with combat. Here we have throwing axe, which is an ability that you have in the game to throw axes. So we're showing off a lot of the combat details that we're pushing for.
Yeah.
I'm also like thinking if they were to integrate like a class in AQ3D actually, like here's the thing, shields have primarily been a decoration in AQ3D. But what if you could actually use the shield as a means of defense in combat? Like if you time a button press correctly, you could use a shield block as an attack, or you could use the shield as a you could use the shield as a disc like a frisbee. So that would be like a creative way to actually use the shield. It's like how would the Berserker class actually use dual weapons? They made dual weapons work, and now the Rogue class are able to use dual knives. Because there's a bunch of different ways that a lot of MMORPGs can have a melee class use a freaking shield. And it's not just one MMO. There's multiple MMOs out there that have a class like a Templar class, like a tank class, etc., class. Imagine actual blocking counter-reactions. Yeah, exactly. Like, the only thing that we've done so far is just dodging attacks, which is just the only way we pretty much can, mitigate damage. Like, we either dodge attacks or we eat food to take less damage. But, like, what about an actual mechanic that allows us to take less damage and be able to block attacks? So, exactly, the skill curve would definitely skyrocket just based on the development of making mechanics for having a shield be practical in AQ3D gameplay.
Yeah, and we actually caught a little peek there of Eivor dual wielding axes here. Is that something we're gonna get to do?
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Berserker class for the win.
Dual wielding is a big part of the game, and it's very open. You can pretty much dual wield all combinations of weapons we have. If you want to dual wield 2 shields, we let you do that.
Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, the primary way we could be able to stun anyone is like, I think it's either with Dragon Slayer or with the Mage. Otherwise, the other classes don't really have like a stun ability. And a Dragon Slayer class is meant to be like, you have the best of like every abilities based on the amount of mana you have, and Mage is a typical Mage where you can just like stun somebody with a lightning ability. But how about a full on like actual melee ability that logistically actually stuns the opponent? Me crying no Berserker class because lazy. Imagine dual shields. You could do that with the Berserker class, but like it's kind of silly. But like having a class where you can actually use the shield as, a combat mechanic would actually make things a little bit interesting. It would be like an actual tank, like the tankiest melee group. If you think the Berserker is a freaking glass cannon, now throw a tank in there. The warrior is just pretty basic by himself or herself. But that could actually be another stance. Well, aside from that, the Guardian has been the main tank so far in AQ3D. Well, but like Guardians and Paladins have been primarily playing as, melee support. But how about a melee that can actually mostly tank and mitigate damage? You can technically do Yushu because Underworld, yeah, pretty much, exactly. Or like any Dragon Crystal like shield weapons.
Yes.
So so dual wielding is a big part of the combat system.
I mean, it's no surprise because if Ezio can use dual hidden blades, then actually that's like one thing I love about playing as Ezio, because you could combo the heck out of enemies if you time your button presses correctly, like block, stab, stab, turn around, block, use a knife, and then turn around, block, sword slash at the waist. That's like one thing I loved when I was playing as Ezio in Assassin's Creed 2.
So we get like a little tease here. There's some hooded figure that appears to be standing next to this tree on the battlefield. Anything at all, Ash, you could tell us about this figure here?
Here, Eivor believes that he is receiving some kind of favor, and it gives him the sort of, let's say, the will to push forward.
Odin is with us!
Odin is with us.
So is that the sort of physical manifestation of Odin there?
Well, in the myths, Odin has two ravens, Hugin and Munin, which are a thought and memory. They come from the words thought and memory, and they were just his two companions that would help him gather knowledge and wisdom about the world.
So we see Ivor here getting just about, all they can handle. Are we gonna see enemies of this stat?
Yo, this dude actually reminds me of that brute in Assassin's Creed 2, and that, well, in Ezio's trilogy, in Brotherhood in the original game, where they're pretty much like the tanks of the game, and they would take like a massive amount of damage in order to kill them. Actually, just vibing here for now, but all. Yeah, no problem, Stash. If you could lurk with your channel, that'd be fantastic. But if not, have a good rest of your evening, and best of luck on your SoundCloud. And I'm actually going to play the original trailer again without this commentary, so y'all can get caught up with it.
Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. 'Cause now it's time to go. But hey, I say, well, that's okay.
We'll be waiting for you to come and play. To come and play. To come and play. Bye now.
Sure, that are this formidable in the game.
Hey, what's up, Seth? Just as somebody
Yeah,
leaves,
we
somebody
have,
comes in.
Hi, how are
You
you?
know, the combat of this time period, if you're going to make a Viking game, the combat needs to be visceral. It needs to be quite brutal. Yes, you meet quite impressive enemies, like this guy here. We would call this guy the ringleader. So this is sort of a leader on the battlefield who's able to rally the troops and have some kind of unique capacities. He's very armored, very few available weak points. So that's a little hint as to what's to come.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer
Ooh.
shows that he's given Ivor basically everything they can handle.
Ooh. Yo, hidden blade clutch.
So, this is the coolest
Nice
thing in
pause.
the world. There's so much I want to talk about. First of all, the hidden blade. The hidden blade is back. What was the decision around that? And then it's also mounted on top of the arm for the first time. Where did all those decisions come from?
Well, actually, here's the thing: the hidden blade being on top of the arm is not actually a first instance thing. It was actually something they've done for the Templars in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, with or around the time in the Ezio trilogy, one of the Templars actually studied how the assassins played out, and they decided to fashion their own hidden blade with a hidden blade on their arm instead of underneath, where you would actually trigger the mechanic if you pull it out. So there's no official release date yet, Seth. They're confirming it for the holidays. But after this commentary, I'm going to play the original trailer again so you guys can actually have everything without the commentary. I'm just watching this video just to see what the devs and anybody else would have to say, the directors.
You go first.
Let's see here. I'll go first.
But yeah, the
Okay.
trailer just dropped this morning.
So, you know, we're building a Viking fantasy. We wanted our players to live in the boots of a Viking warrior, and to fully live in that fantasy. But this is within the Assassin's Creed world. And so, in our journey, of course, we can't spoil too much here. But in our journey, Eivor does meet with assassins. Now, Eivor doesn't necessarily know what that means, but there is some kind of common ground that they have, and this is something that these are people that Eivor will work with. And at some point, Eivor does receive a hidden blade. So that's something that happens in the journey quite early on. Again, we don't want to get into any spoiler territory or explain why the connection is there, but it is something that's very significant and important to the journey of this game.
Okay.
And so when Eivor receives this hidden blade, Eivor puts it on and believes that this is such a kick-ass weapon that why would you want to hide it from your enemies? So here again, it's we wanted to show that Eivor, there's something more to this character than yes, this is a Viking raider, but there is more. There is something unique here. There's a unique journey that our players will go on within this Viking fantasy inside the Assassin's Creed world.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time overlapping and intertwining threads to make sure that every moment of it really feels connected, integrated, that it's all, you know, when you play this game, you're in not just a Viking game, but an Assassin's Creed game.
Oh, absolutely. This trailer does have some promise to it. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
All right. Well, folks, there you have it. That's the first trailer for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
And they are done analyzing it, and I'm gonna replay the original trailer just so you guys can be able to get caught up. I might play it, but I do have to get caught up on my Assassin's Creed journey, to be honest. So they were streaming themselves designing the promo art for this, and I was actually on a Twitch stream for it. They did like a few trivia questions about Norse mythology and stuff, and I answered some of it, and I'm able to get a bonus item for when Valhalla comes out. So, well, if it's useful, at least I hope it's useful. But yeah, here's the actual official trailer for those of you guys who missed it. But I think it should be like releasing for next gen consoles.
They are heartless.
That's Odin.
Godless barbarians.
Keep in mind this.
They murder and kill blindly.
Well, keep in mind, Seth, this is
They
just
scar the land of
cinematics.
England. Land they will never defend, never love. The time has come to speak to them in a language they will understand.
That's true. I think it's because they use Unreal Engine 4, which is a pretty good engine.
Odin is with us!
Ooh, that timing.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla, available holiday 2020.
The amount of detail they actually put into, like, I don't know. I'm really kind of interested, honestly. But then again, I haven't exactly played Origins and Odyssey, but they might take some notes from like the previous two games. But if we're bringing back like the Hidden Blade, then hopefully then that stealth will actually become like a good part of the gameplay and not just relegated to like, you know, side missions. Because I remember like people said that in when they played Assassin's Creed Odyssey, they don't get the Hidden Blade until like, you know, later, but even then it's not actually a genuine Hidden Blade. And in Odyssey it's like, well, it's not really much of a relevant thing. But yeah, I haven't beaten an Assassin's Creed game in a long time, so I have to go through a whole journey before I get to, well, then again, Valhalla is like, you know, it's either like, it's probably before Assassin's Creed 2. I don't know. I would like to play in chronological order rather than like the order the games came out. And I feel you, Acer. I totally feel you, dude. I totally feel you. But anyways, yeah, there's some promise in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and I think the commentary that I've watched has provided enough details and stuff. So what's the difference between this one and that one?
Lights, villagers gathered around a blonde Viking as he approaches a large statue of Odin. A woman wearing ceremonial garb turns.
Godless barbarians.
Oh, audio description. Okay. You ever played or watched Origins? They essentially want to establish that the thing is with Origins that it kind of like makes some plot holes, I would say, because supposedly like Assassin's Creed 1 was like the game that supposedly established the origins of the Brotherhood, of the Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. But then Ubisoft is like, what if we take back a step further and actually start the Brotherhood officially in ancient Egypt? And that really threw it in for the historical loophole. Like, might go back to the line for Assassin's Creed 1, Odyssey aside, the games like Russia, but the 2D side-scroller style isn't so appealing. I get you. I have Assassin's Creed, I think it was like Lineage or something. It's like an Ezio story on the DS. I think it was okay, but I didn't find it like too compelling. Altair has like a side game as well on the PSP. I forgot what it's called, but it's definitely something that people would play. And also at the same time, like the Ezio trilogy, you really can't go wrong with it. And Assassin's Creed Black Flag did have some like promising gameplay mechanics because of like, you know, the pirate style. You can go through naval combat, you can fight with a bunch of different weapons and stuff. I played Assassin's Creed 4 not just for the story when I got it. I played it primarily for the multiplayer mode because that was the latest version of the multiplayer mode that people could play, and it was pretty fun, even though I kept on losing. Even though I actually kept on losing. But by the way, Seth, did you redeem the code for Wiz and Pirate that was released in King's Isle Live? Because If not, I could just like message it to you. I don't know if the code still works. It gives you like they gave you like a hat and a permanent mount in Wiz, but for some reason they give like an eye patch and a temp mount in Pirate. I'll message it to you though. Let me just I don't know if the code still works, so let me just message to you on Twitch. Whisper. I forgot. Whisper function doesn't work here. I'll give you 1 second to check. In the meantime, though, I'm gonna go ahead and open up Final Fantasy VII, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, just because I actually want to get into that today. And it's like a game that I've really wanted to develop myself on. Oh wow, there's a bunch of people who are actually on it today. Visionary Dragon. Visionary. There we go. And I sent the code. All right, so look in your Twitch DMs. You should be able to get it now. And let me go ahead and switch scenes real quick while I play some music to get things started. It is International Jazz Day after all, so I'm gonna go ahead and play some Final Fantasy jazz in the meantime. While I switch games real quick. Where the heck? Oh yeah,